But what's your favorite Bobby Bowden story in general?
It's one that you guys are probably not going to like, but it's fine. So I'm in the office, QB office. We're watching film with Coach Dickey, me, Drew, and some of the other quarterbacks. And Bobby Bowden walks in behind me because we had that grease board behind, and he draws up a stick figure on how to throw the deep ball. You throw it high, so either the receiver can get it or he comes back and gets a pass interference. So he draws this stick figure thing, and then I see Coach Dickey over there taking a picture of it. Like it's just the best artwork ever. It's literally stick figures of him throwing the guy like this or whatever. So he turns around and says, throw the ball far and high. Like Greg Carr, you throw it high, he'll go up and get it. If it's underthrown, at least he can come back and try to make a play on it or get pass interference. So he explains all of this. And then he turns to me and says, you got that, boy? And like walked out. He slapped me in the face. Bobby Bowden made that brilliant artwork, slapped me in the face, and walked out. So I'm sitting there in my chair about like this, smack. And everyone else is laughing. I'm like, man, this isn't funny. Like, I'm willing to risk my career to go drop his ass because he just slapped me in front of everyone. So that is my hands down best Bobby story. So when I get up there, Bobby, I haven't forgot. We got some words to figure out.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy at Big Game James _36. And this is another Doak Boyz Chop It Up. And I got Travis Johnson, he's coming. So Trav J is a very busy guy. I called him, actually, believe it or not. So I called this man 30 minutes ago. So I'm about to pick up the phone, about to call him again, and just be like, hey, my housework. You coming. Making sure he good. Y'all be on here. Hey, did you get the link on your text?
It's on my text message?
Yeah.
I see it. Give me a second.
All right, bro. Yeah. I just didn't want y'all thinking it was me showing up late. It is our month though. So remember, guys, all my coloreds, it's our month. So greenies, y'all get to celebrate my guy Bud. You get to celebrate. Bud said, hopefully I get my Black History gift from you, Bud, today. I appreciate you, man. All those different things. But yeah, man, Chad, we got the tailgates coming. Make sure you check all these different things out. But just to give a quick intro to who this guy is, he was number 99 in your media guide, number one in your heart, Travis Johnson from out of California, Notre Dame High School. Real good dude. Solid guy. I've had phenomenal conversations with his ass, especially since we've been not teammates anymore. Dude, smart, funny, hilarious, and everybody who thinks that I'm uncut, bullshit. Travis is my spirit animal. Like I lived through. He used to be more on social media. It was hilarious just to see some of the things that he got into, and we're gonna chop it up with him a little bit once I see him get back on the camera. He's backstage right now, but a great story, man. Story of actually, I think a story that I tell a lot of my young athletes about that are getting ready to like be prepared. Top athlete coming out, had some adversity that he went through in college, fought through that shit, became a first round pick, family man, and then there's some things that I found out about him that I didn't necessarily know when we were in college, and probably could have helped prepare me a little bit more for my life after that. I'm gonna talk about him and what he is, but shit, he here somewhere.
Hold on, no, give me a second, bro. Oh my bad. Hold on.
We can hear you, but
I was yeah. Hold on, I'm over here. I was in the middle of doing some stuff that I forgot all about. Yeah. All right. Here I come. My bad. Oh shit. Hope we ain't live.
We there now. We good. You straight. You all right, man. We don't normally start on time anyway. I just wanted them to know it wasn't my fault this time.
Oh no, you good. I totally forgot. Well, I was over here dozing off really. Because I was supposed to go run some errands, but There I go.
There we go. All right, man. Shoot. Anyways, for those who don't know, again, Travis Johnson with the age, got the bald head. Travis has had dreads. He's had everything.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna, man. I'm feeling the beard, dog. You get real gray.
Man, yeah, I'm old, man. I'm old.
So basically, what this is, Travis, this is a convo, man. I ain't talked to you in a minute anyway, dog. So we're just catching up. But mainly, we're gonna talk a lot about FSU and just even your playing career, things that, you know, and what you're doing and what you're up to now. We're going to get into, actually, one of the questions that I got a lot is, you know, I had to see if I was blocked or not. I was like, no, you just not fucking with Twitter like that no more, or X or whatever it is.
I don't be on any of that, man. I just, you know, I go in there and watch, you know what I'm saying? But I don't really, you know, just laying low, man. You know, give my mind a rest from probably pre-CTE and all the rest of it, you know, so just you know, just watching, you know what I'm saying, more than anything else. And, you know, it's actually kind of, you know, it's kind of it's refreshing sometimes, you know, that you're not on there, you know what I'm saying? Like I ain't been on in a while, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's been cool, man. You know what I mean? Like it's just been just really relaxing, man, and trying to get my mind right, trying to get my body right. And, you know, that's it, bro. I ain't gonna, you know, that's why it's been a rough couple of years, man, but it's been all right.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Yeah, I joke with, I told one person, I said sometimes people get a little too familiar and on that social media. And I had this meme that some fans or some people need to ass whoop. And you know, they just talk a little bit too much, but it's all good though. But and then it's smart for you to be able to know when you got to take a step back.
No.
So one of my first questions I have for you is, when did you get introduced to the game of football and what made you start playing football?
Well, I was 10. I was 10 years old. When I moved out of LA, you know what I mean? Like, so I played baseball my whole life, you know what I'm saying? Until junior high school, sophomore high school. And baseball was my first love. It still is, you know. And so football, we moved out of LA. We moved to a city called Oak Park, which was predominantly white folks. And the dude who was my actually basketball coach that first year was like, hey man, you might want to play football. So he taught me how to play football. Was me and his son was like real good friends. And then like the guy who took Mr. Warren, Coach Warmer taught me, and Coach Nicasio, I think. Yeah. And then the following year I had my homeboy's dad, which was Al Lutz, who really took me to another level and showed me what I wanted to do. Because this was like a big 6'5" white dude, 25-inch neck, played for the Chargers, played in New Mexico State, one or two of them. But he really pushed the game for me, man. And that's when I started realizing how much I loved it, how good I could be at it. And so he died actually after my freshman year and left a scholarship at my high school, at the high school I ended up transferring to, which was his alma mater as well, for me to go there because he felt like I could have been a better player. You know what I mean? And I needed a better situation.
So you didn't start off at Notre Dame?
No, I started up at Oak Park High School, man. Starting tailback and middle linebacker.
That's a hell of a switch.
Yeah.
From tailback to D tackle.
Well, when I transferred high school, I went to play fullback because my real good friend Justin Fargas was a starting tailback. Justin Fargas was no more tailback in the country, so I couldn't play tailback anymore. And then I was bigger than all our linebackers at my second high school. I was bigger than all our D linemen. You know, I showed up to school 6'4", 250 pounds. You know what I'm saying? And I was bigger than everybody. You know what I mean? I was ideal when you talk about linebacker stuff, but at the same time, it was you know, I was just bigger. So they was like, hey, we want to play D-line. And I just was like, well, I'm a linebacker, but, you know, I understand you got seniors who you trying to get offers who never played after a senior year of high school that you got playing linebackers. So I played D-line and I stayed down there. I ended up liking it.
All right. So you go to high school, you go to okay. So wait a minute, Vargas. That's what you call it? What's his dad name?
Huggy
Played
Bear.
it. Yeah. Yeah, that motherfucker was cold. I remember him. So you go in high school. So you go to high school. You start off at Oak Park. You transfer to Notre Dame. Then they take you from tailback to D tackle, like you just said. When did recruiting pick up for you, and what was that like when you got your first letter?
Well, my first offer came as a freshman in high school as a tailback. BYU offered me. BYU offered me first, and then my sophomore year, UCLA, USC, and I can't. It was one more, but it was UCLA, USC, and Michigan. Excuse me, and Michigan offered me my sophomore year. So my sophomore year, I led the country in sacks as a sophomore, led the country in sacks as a junior, and then as a senior. So I was tied for national record at the time when I left high school. You know what I mean? I was a sophomore All-American, junior All-American, senior All everything. Two-time, I think, all it was at that time it was me and DJ Williams that was getting recruited by everybody. Like in California, we had a rule where you had to be, I want to say you had to be 14 or 15 to play varsity football as a freshman. And me and DJ Williams was the only two, but we had to get exemption from the doctors, you know what I mean, to allow us to play. Me and DJ was the only two playing in the state of California that year as freshmen. And it's coincidence that we both end up number 1 and 2 player in the state of California and number 1 and 2 player in, or arguably 2, 3 in the nation.
And that was 2000? No, or you were in 99 class?
Yeah, 99 class, but 2000 recruiting class, but 99 is a senior playing ball. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's right. Because you were your redshirt freshman. We'll get into that.
My freshman year was 2000.
Right.
We played Oklahoma. My redshirt freshman year was 2001, which I think might have been your first year or your senior in high school. I can't remember.
That was my senior year in high school. I came in 02. Y'all did play West Virginia, I believe, right? In the Gator Bowl.
Virginia Tech.
Oh, Virginia Tech and Gator Bowl?
Yeah. Okay.
So you come through there, big time recruit, people coming over offering you. Who was the first coach, or when did you get that offer from Florida State, and who told you about it? Who called you?
Well, you remember Coach St. John, right?
Yeah.
St. Jesus. So St. Jesus was my D-line coach in high school.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So St. Jesus was my D-line coach in high school. And St. Jesus had already left. The probably into my first semester or whatever. But I kind of knew they kind of wanted to give him the job because they were trying to sway me over there. But my sophomore year or beginning of my junior year, I hadn't got any love from a lot of the Southern teams or whatever, right? They hadn't really come out west. At that time, nobody came out west. You know what I mean? And so as a junior, he goes and does the camp. He goes and does camp like that summer before my junior year or whatever. You know what I mean? And they jumped on my radar, sending letters. You know what I mean? And because at the time I had everybody in the Pac-10, everybody in the Big Ten, everybody in the SEC, just about, you know what I'm saying? Almost, you know what I mean? And, all the other in-betweens, the Western Athletic Conference, all them other stuff at the time. And so when they started coming around, then it opened up to literally the entire South. To where then, Miami offered, you know what I mean? But Coach, what's my guy? Went to Georgia. Coach Rick. Coach Rick was responsible for coming out to Cali. So Coach Rick was recruiting Chris Ricks at the time. Was recruiting Chris Ricks at the time to play quarterback. And he watched us play each other early on in the season and watched me have, I want to say 4 sacks or whatever it was. We ended up losing the game because their running back rushed for a bunch of yards that game. But then they offered me, that was like 3rd game of the season, junior year, they offered me. And I was like, all right, cool. I wasn't even thinking nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Like at the time, I got everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, do I want to go to Tallahassee? I don't know nothing about Tallahassee. You know what I mean? And then so Coach Rick offered me. Then Jim Gladden came out. Odell came out. You know what I'm saying? And kind of was like, oh, yeah, no, we want this kid. You know what I mean? So it was, and then I guess it also helped because my junior year, I think 8 of the games that I played was against top 15 offensive tackles in high school football that year. And I destroyed every last one of them. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like, yeah, we need this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So obviously I know how good your relationship was with Odell. Did that kind of start during the recruiting process?
Not really. You know what I'm saying? Like it started when I got to school. You know what I mean? Like, because Odell wasn't my main. I was coming in to play defensive end.
Oh, so JG was your main recruiter.
So JG was my coach at the time. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
me and Coach Rick was cool because he would be there all the time. Me and Odell got cool. They moved me and Dockett the same day. And they moved us to play defense tackle. So in 2000, so I actually played in 2000. I don't know if you know that, right? Mm-hmm. So as a true freshman, I actually was on the field. What is it? So this is like in the training camp. It's during training camp. I'm having a decent training camp. I'm winning some, I'm losing some.
Damn. Somebody probably called him. Yo, Travis, you hear me? Yeah, we hear.
My bad, dog. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Uh-oh. I can't hear you.
Did you get a phone call? Oh,
man. Can you hear me, though? All right. Say something.
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. See, I didn't know you just wasn't saying shit.
No, we can hear you now. We couldn't hear you like you went black.
Yeah, so
the last thing we heard was you was talking about training camp.
So training, I was winning some, losing some. I was beating up on Brett. Ty was beating up on me. You know what I'm saying? And then excuse me.
For those who don't know, he was beating up on Brett Williams, an All-American at Florida State, and Todd, just an all-around big ass motherfucker who was a bad dude.
And so y'all gotta forgive me because my memory the last few years been a little bit all over the place. But I remember a lot of old stuff. It's hard to remember some of the newer stuff. But yeah. So they called us in. A couple guys get hurt. Chris Woods. A couple guys like here's the thing. The D tackle room was all freshmen and sophomores, or redshirt freshmen and sophomores at the time. And so we get called. Me and Doc get called in to the office by Coach Bowden. And he said, yeah, we're going to move you guys to defensive tackle. Me and Doc are pissed, right? Like, both of us are over there talking about transferring. And Coach Bowden gave us the rest of the day off of practice and told us we had until tomorrow to figure it out. Then he called us in and was like, well, we spent too much money coming to California to get you. And, Darnell, if you think you'll transfer to Maryland, we're not going to give you your release anyway, so you got to sit out a whole another year. And that was like, well, damn, you know what I mean?
Hey, hold on, man. I want you to, because it's not trying to change the narrative at all. I love the old man. God rest his soul. Yeah. But I keep trying to tell people that y'all think that Bobby Bowden was just this all shucks, Jesus loves the little children, like soft ass lamb on the shoulder type dude. You don't get Mickey Andrews and Chuck Amato to follow you being no pussy. Like no. Bobby was stone cold, man.
Man, Coach Bob was a goon, man, and a gangster. You know what I mean? Like we caught him in his older age. Like when I got to school, he was I want to say 70. You know what I'm saying? So we caught him in his older age where he wasn't as hard as Mickey was at the time. You know what I'm saying? But like you listen to some of the old guys, they talk about Coach Bowden was Mickey Andrews some years back. You know what I'm saying? To where that was a hell of a dynamic. You know what I mean? But so basically he strong armed us. You know what I'm saying? So we both ended up coming back. I came off a stinger that first week, so I didn't play against BYU. But I played against Georgia Tech and North Carolina. I played a whole lot of plays actually. Where it was funny because, you know, the three freshmen at the time were really, the two or three redshirt freshmen and one true freshman. We played the whole. We split really the whole game. It was me, Doc, Pig, and Kevin Emmanuel. You know what I'm saying? And we played those games. We played most of the plays. And then when the guys started to get healthy, I was like, man, it wasn't even really when the guys started to get healthy. I was looking at it and saying, you know, Doc was making a whole bunch of plays, big plays. You know what I'm saying? To where Doc's name was getting out there already. Pig was doing okay, making some good plays. And I was like, man, I'm a true freshman. Both of these boys are redshirt freshmen. And I look back and saying, like, I believe that Doc and Pig was going to the league. You know what I'm saying? I knew, you know, Doc for sure, you know what I mean, was going. I knew Pig would go if Pig off the field activities as far as, you know, things he had going on, he could control. You know what I'm saying? Because eventually that's what ended up biting him in the butt. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But
Pig Jeff Womble for those who
you know what I'm saying? And really, because I thought Pig was phenomenal, dog. Like for like a big dude like Pig, who could I compare Pig to as far as that played in the league for a long time? Like it's rough because he didn't look like, I would even say was a little Grady Jarrett. Like, is it Grady Jarrett, the one that's in Atlanta? Like it's one of them guys that like Pig wasn't super tall. He didn't have a bunch of muscles, you know what I'm saying? But Pig was quick as a hiccup. He's strong as shit. It wasn't much Pig couldn't do, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, really the only thing that killed him was, you know, the stuff that went on behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? Which was nuts, you know what I mean? But it wasn't nuts. It just was, today nobody would care. Back then, you know, everybody frowned upon it, you know what I'm saying? So I just looked at it as, okay, them two guys are gonna go to the league. You know what I'm saying? Them two guys are gonna be them. They're gonna be that dude, and they're gonna beat them dudes the next few years. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, let me red shirt, a medical red shirt. I went to Odell talking about it, and he talked me through it. He's like, we're gonna go down and practice with a neck injury tomorrow during 9:07, and then we're gonna get you your year back. And I was like, cool. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we had practice.
Hey, you had a plan. I ain't even mad at it.
Hey, and so when I told Dale, he set that up, ran it by Cole Bowden, and Cole Bowden was like, I like it. You know what I mean? And the next day he went down. The only part that sucked was I had to wear a neck brace for like 2 weeks on campus, looking real sus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, to sell it.
Yeah, but you know, that was the plan, you know, that they put out for me to be able to, and it ended up, you know, now I truly got neck issues, but you know, and I had some back then, but it wasn't nothing like that. Like I just kept getting stingers at the time, you know, but you know, that's when me and Odell became close, like because I was being a West Coast kid, like I was never able to go home any Thanksgivings while I was in school. You know what I'm saying? So I would spend every Thanksgiving with Odell and Robin, you know what I mean? And at the time they ain't had no kids. They do now, which, you know what I'm saying? They have a daughter now who, you know, Amelia is finna be a freshman in college coming up. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
which is nuts to me. You know what I mean? But like, you know, Dale didn't have no kids at the time, so we was Dale kids. You know what I mean? So Dale took care of us, man. Dale took me fishing for the first time. You know, which is the only reason why, to be honest, is the reason why when my son was 6 or 7, I took him fishing. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, like my son is he loved fishing. You know what I'm saying? Like Odell loved fishing, but I was never a fisherman. But I said, you know, that was a good experience that I remembered in my life was the fact that, you know, Dale took me and Doc fishing one day, you know what I'm saying? And it was a phenomenal time.
All right, so gonna get back more into the Florida State story. You brought us forward a little bit, which is nothing wrong with that. But going back, what was it? Everybody had the Bobby Bowden story coming to the neighborhood, coming to recruit. I'm assuming Bobby came to your house, correct?
Yes.
So what was that like?
Listen,
first meeting Bobby and Bobby come to the house.
Hey man, let me explain something to all your people out there. I was number 1 defensive player in the country. Arguably, the lowest was number 2. Number 3 overall by most people's standards. I was ESPN Reebok National Defensive Player of the Year. I was 2nd in USA Today, voting behind DJ Williams for being National Player of the Year on the parade and on the parade in USA Today team. So everybody who wanted to recruit me, if your head coach didn't pull up at my address, you ain't stand a chance in hell. And even if your head coach did pull up, boy, he still might not have stood a chance in hell. You know what I'm saying? It was one day where I had Michigan, Nebraska, and freaking Ohio State head coaches all sitting in my living room waiting on their turn to go. You know what I'm saying? Like,
talk your shit.
Yeah, like it wasn't, if you wasn't coming, if you didn't come with no head coach, then you couldn't, what? You stand there just, so when Coach Bowden pulled up, you know, Coach Bowden pulled up, he pulled up so different, though. You know, everybody always pulled up in big body shit, you know what I'm saying? All them coaches at the time, you know, them big body Benzes, you know what I mean, was really coming around, like the little boxy one like Chris Ricks used to have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like them is really starting to come around at the time. You know what I'm saying? Coach Bowden pulls up. He got his feet up in the back, chilling. He gets out, waving to focus. At the time, it's about this time of year. You know what I'm saying? Not this time of year. It's about whenever daylight savings. So before, I guess November-ish. You know what I'm saying? Every time really changes, right? If I remember correctly. And it might be lower. Yeah, right about the time change. And so it got dark early, but he pulled up. So people was outside waiting because every day a head coach pulled up. You know what I'm saying? So like my neighborhood would be outside. Imagine now, this is all white folks, you know what I'm saying? They got a little bit of their own, and all their kids going to UCLA, USC. They all it's a top neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? And so everybody should be outside waiting to see who's pulling up that day. You know, some of them were envious, some of them were happy, some of them were proud for me. You know what I'm saying? Because, it's at times where, I remember getting into Stanford University at the time, and it's people who've been applying for Stanford their whole life, and their parents went there and they couldn't get in. But I got in, a 2.0 student with a dang 1180 SAT score. You know what I'm saying? But I was the best, so you gonna let me in. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I was pissed about that type of stuff. You know what I mean? But when Coach Bowden pulled up, man, it was so dope because USC didn't know it at the time. You know what I'm saying? But they got crossed off the list the week before. You know what I'm saying? So Coach Ogeron, me and Coach Ogeron go way back. Coach Ogeron offered me when I was, I guess 14 or 15, whatever I was 14 years old, my sophomore year or whatever. You know what I mean? 14, 15. Yeah, I was 15, right? So Coach Ogeron and the old coach, Coach Robinson, John Robinson, you know what I'm saying, offered me as a sophomore. When we played, matter of fact, I was playing Matt Castle and them that day they offered me. I sacked Matt Castle 5 times. This shit was over with. They was over there shaking, thinking they forgot, thinking they missed a recruit out of Notre Dame. And my daddy was like, no, he's just a sophomore. Well, after the game, them people offered me, right? And so the week before, so fast forward, what's that fool name? His
Hold on, Trap. We can't hear you. Trap. We can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Refresh your phone. Like refresh the hold on. Yeah, Trap, you got an iPhone. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. We still can't hear you. Damn, this motherfucking story was getting good and shit. Hold on. Hold on. Nah, refresh it. That's why I was calling you. Refresh your phone. There we go. There we go. All right, so he'll come back in. Oh man. Listen, man, we're not young no more. We're a little older. So technology is fucking with us right now. All right. So we should be able to.
All right.
All right, we good. Hey, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, bro, so nobody keep calling you.
Hey, man, my wife, man, listen, my wife left. So she check on me every 30 minutes to make sure I am still breathing. But
I ain't got that.
So what was we just talking about?
You were talking about
oh yeah, so what's the coach that got fired before the coach at Denver is right there now? Is the coach in Denver right now is the old Saints coach. Hackett. That's his name. So Paul Hackett was the coach at USC. Paul Hackett pulls up at my house with sunglasses on, leaves his sunglasses on the whole time. Man, I ain't leave no glasses on in my motherfucking mama house. You done lost your fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? Like at that point, I'm like, growing up, I used to get whooped for shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, come in with the hat, your glasses, and leaving your shoes on when you walk your ass in this house. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for me, it was just the biggest sign of disrespect. And they probably, maybe he didn't notice it because I think he probably had them bifocals that switched to tint and they didn't never turn back. You know what I'm saying?
Not during that time. That's new technology. That's newer technology. Yeah. That wasn't in 99, 2000.
Maybe that's what it was. But either way, they was donezo. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, like football-wise, I would have wanted to go to USC if I stayed home. But I actually like UCLA a whole lot better. You know what I'm saying? There was a few little things over there that I used to really like over there, man. And you know what I'm saying? But the problem was them boys used to be better. And boys used to be better as freshmen than they were seniors. And you know what? At the time, UCLA kind of lost me for a while because the D-line coach there, Jethro Franklin, had left and went to the NFL. He actually ended up being my coach in Houston at one point, but he left and went to the Packers. The new D-line coach, I really didn't know him like that, but then when I got to know him, UCLA got back on my radar. Don Johnson, God rest his soul. Don ended up being my D-line coach in San Diego, so I couldn't really run from either one of them.
Yeah, that's somebody you just put up not too long ago, pass, right?
DJ.
Yeah.
So Florida State comes in, Coach Bowden comes in, he sits down and the thing is, like, he talks to my mama and my sister and my daddy longer than he talked to me. You know what I'm saying? One thing about Coach Bowden is Coach Bowden recruit the parents. You know what I'm saying? Like the old saying in Coming to America. No, you don't want to holler at the girl. You want to holler at the daddy. You know what I'm saying? Because the way the woman's heart is through her daddy. What Coach Bowden always knew, the way to a kid's heart was they parents. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is that my parents didn't want me to go to Florida State. You know what I'm saying? My daddy really didn't care. My mama was like, hell no. You know, my mother wanted me to go to Cal Berkeley, Michigan. You know, because I was going to Michigan. I actually, what a lot of people don't know is I committed to Michigan the Sunday before Tuesday signing day. You know what I'm saying? And changed my mind with Coach Carr. He fucked it off for himself because he the one got my daddy like, because he called my pop like, yeah, man, we so excited that Travis joining us, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And so my daddy all of a sudden got my mind spinning again and was like, give me the pros and cons of each of the places you're thinking about. You know what I'm saying? And first he said, because he asked me, what's it gonna come down to? If you had two people, I said, Michigan and Florida State, right? Then he told me, all right, well, if those are your final two, then cancel your press conference. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what? This is the new time where Fargus was like one of the first people to have a true press conference. And then so I was gonna have, in LA at the time, we was the creme de la creme, man. We was on TV every day. We was on before ESPN2 was a thing nationwide. I had a show on ESPN2 every week as a senior in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it was like one of those things. Like I was on, before Fox Sports got to be huge, like we had Fox Sports West and all that. I was on there all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm on TV all the time. So I'm like, I'm gonna have a huge press conference. It's gonna be large. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I canceled that. And my daddy asked me a couple questions. He said, what do you ultimately want to do? I said, play in the NFL. He said, what gives you the best opportunity to do so? And so I go through it and I look at all these guys that I looked up to at Michigan. You know what I'm saying? Growing up watching them play. Trevor Price before he transferred to Clemson. Rob Breenis, James Hall. Just a bunch of dudes that I grew up watching. You know what I'm saying? None of them dudes were first round picks. You know what I'm saying? Except for Trevor. Trevor left. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, what's the deal? And mind you, me and Coach Hoke is tight. We still tight. And if y'all don't know, Brady Hoke was a D-line coach at the time. Ended up being a head coach some years later. So at the time, I'm like, well, damn, if it's just about going to the league, that's for me, like, you know what I mean? Because like my daddy was like, man, we know you don't fool with school like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's be real about where you want to go. Your mom wants you to go to Cal Berkeley. You want to go to Michigan. Both of them got great educational systems. One has better football than the other. But what do you want to do? And I told her, I want to play in the league, man. And Florida State gave me the best opportunity. So Coach Bowden came in there. He was working. He worked in the room, man. Working in the room. It was Coach Bowden, JG, Odell, and Coach Rick came in, and it was dope, man. But like when he pulled up, everybody was there, man. He had a great suit on, if I remember correctly. Great suit on, garnet tie. He had that one ring, that FSU ring that he always wore with the little diamonds around it. You know what I'm saying? I still wish they would have made those for us at some point. But like it just was a great experience, man, because he was the first one. He was one of the only ones that came in talking about the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Talking about church. And they got my mama, but it didn't sell her on Florida State, though.
So how did we get mom sold on Florida State?
We never got mom sold on Florida State. She hated it. She hated it. She was, when I showed, because she came on my visit with me. So one thing you got to remember, my parents from Panama. So like they come from like the Gamboa rainforest. There's a lot of trees and all that. So when we pulled back in, when we flew into Tallahassee, she's like, oh, all this bush. There's a bunch of snakes out here and all. Like it just was, and it was. She was like, this podunk town, XYZ, blah blah blah, and she just hated it. You know what I'm saying? But I loved it. You know what I'm saying? Like I just loved, you know what I'm saying? She's like, man, you sure you want to come down here? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, man.
Hey, real quick, I meant to tell you that. So I had no clue in college, but my boys are half Panamanian.
Are you your wife from Panama or your white people from there?
And you know where all of them live? They
Huh?
all live in fucking Tallahassee.
Wow. Oh yeah.
They were in Boston, but it's like a huge Panamanian community in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I know. I ended up finding out I had a cousin that actually lived there towards the end of my time in school that lived in Tallahassee, a Panamanian cousin. Who's my mama's side. Yeah. So
it's funny because like I grew up in Tallahassee. I didn't know what a Panamanian was.
Yeah,
and then I find out it's a whole damn community of them motherfuckers, man.
Yeah. So yeah, we got big Boston communities, California communities, Florida community. Like we everywhere, man. You know, and a lot of it was because my parents were fortunate that at the time the U.S. owned the canal zone.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So my parents were actually born with dual citizenship. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of them didn't even realize that. But the reason they knew it is because my grandfather worked in the Panamanian consulate and all the other stuff, and worked in the canal zone. So he knew all the laws and stuff at the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I got cousins that were born in the canal zone that don't have citizenship in America because they never filed for it. You know what I'm saying? But like it was a process that, you know, it was an easy process. You know what I mean? And you know, it was just something looking forward to. Has your wife got your kids asexual and stuff like that so they can pass it down to them?
Nah, that they ain't done none of that. My boys don't even. I try to force them to speak Spanish. Like that, I don't know what the hell their grandparents be saying. They won't do none of that.
It ain't about forcing them to speak Spanish. It's just about for her to make sure does she have is she a Panamanian citizen?
Nah, she born over here.
Yeah, I know, but you can get dual.
I don't think so. No, I don't know. Oh, she can't be military. Got to be. She's straight full blood. She can't do nothing until she get out of the army. Her dad though, like everybody else is. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So she was just. So when you get done, you got to make sure they do that. So then you can pass it to your children.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like, say for instance, one of them want to run track, or like your sister used to throw, right?
Yeah.
If one of your kids end up being throwers or something, it's harder to make the U.S. team than it is make the Panamanian team. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. My sister used to be mad as hell. Like people she was better than could make the Olympics. Yeah. But like she over here can't do nothing.
Yeah, based on the country their parents from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I would just say explore it because, you know, like I have mine. You know what I'm saying? And I'm past kids, you know what I mean? But that's here nor there.
But yeah, but I understand the Panamanian mamas.
Yeah, no, she wasn't playing that. She just like when I signed Florida State, she ain't talked to me for some months, bro.
I knowing them, I know that too. I know I've seen that kind of stuff too, man. That's wild, man. But and I could also understand that, like my mom being from really in New Jersey, she went to college at FAM in the 80s. So that's how we got to Tallahassee. So she's coming from New Jersey, concrete jungle, and she comes to Tallahassee. She's like, man, what the hell is this? Like I didn't never this crazy. So I can definitely understand. So you get to Tallahassee, Bobby. Oh, bad, go ahead.
So I get Tallahassee, and so like it was rough too, because like we lived in I guess a rich white neighborhood, but we ain't had no money like that. Like my daddy was a real big saver, wasn't a big spender. So like he had it planned down to the T of exactly what. So we moved out of LA before all the other stuff. Like he was saved up, you know. Every dollar was accounted for. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like at one point when I was playing AAU basketball and all that other stuff and spending extra money doing this, like my daddy who ran the post office, one of the post offices on the West Coast, he got a second job, man, in Costco stocking shelves. You know what I'm saying? At nighttime. You know what I'm saying? To be able to put a couple extra dollars in his pocket. You know, I remember when he applied for that job. They told him he was too overqualified. He's like, man, I just need to check. You know what I'm saying? To get a little bit extra dough. You know what I mean? And I knew the part that sucked was that if I went there, like I would never have family at the game for the most part, or my parents would only be able to come one game a year. You know what I'm saying? If that, and then so after I get there, I went in the SCP/care program.
Shout out to care program.
I get there, meet B Mac. We there, and so Emo was supposed to be there, but he didn't qualify at the time. So I get to school there, but my daddy, right before I went to school, told me he had prostate cancer. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in school doing the stuff, and like it was bad. So my daddy got shot like in 92, you know what I'm saying? 91, 92. So they left a bullet in him, but it was lodged in it like his bladder, you know what I'm saying? And because it was keeping everything together really. And then so when he had to have chemo and they had surgery and all the other stuff, they took the bullet out, you know what I mean? And then his bladder shattered. He got an infection bad, almost died. So I was on campus for like 2 weeks and had to leave and go home for like a week. You know what I'm saying? Because they thought my daddy was gonna die. You know what I'm saying? And then so, I didn't see my parents again I didn't see my mom until our first parent weekend, I think. She showed up, her and my sister came. And then my daddy didn't come to his first game until my redshirt freshman year, parents weekend. But yeah, I get there and they switched positions on us in 2 weeks. And Coach Bowden strong arm us, you know what I mean, to make sure we stay on campus. And then the rest is history.
That's a lot of wild shit to have to deal with 17, 18, being away from home, Pops getting that, coming in playing one position, they moving you positions, injuries. So shoot, that's crazy. That's things that I never even would have even thought or even imagined.
I mean, it was nuts, bro. I mean, but at the same time, I laugh because I'm sleeping with this girl in the care program, or SCP as we used to call it. They moved it to care. SCP we call some easy pussy, but that's a whole nother issue. But I'm dating this girl and she's batshit crazy, bro. Like I'm literally sleeping with this girl, and I remember like yesterday, but like she won't leave the room. B Mac like so when I go home when my daddy's sick, right? B Mac is like pissed because he's like, hey man, tell this girl she gotta leave the room. I said, man, you shouldn't have let her in. What you talking about? Yeah. But he was like, man, he said, no, I tried to tell her like, at the time I had like 3 girlfriends. I had pictures of all 3 of them on the wall from back home. You know what I'm saying? And she like, who are all these people on that wall? And he was like, oh man, them his girlfriends. Oh man, she was over there, didn't want to leave the room, man. It was hilarious, man. But it was the good old days.
Man, what I remember about the care program when I came a few years after you was we was in Jenny Murphy, 4 floors of girls, 1 floor of dudes, and me and basketball, me and Todd Galloway was like roommates. And man, it was quite an experience. I say that, but she was like, I can understand the SCP. My high school girlfriend didn't stand a chance, and I'm from Tally. But it was a different world when I met a light-skinned French Haitian that spoke that shit. I don't know what. I was like, yo, say that to me again. Like I've never heard. I thought it was just blacks, Hispanics, and Jamaicans. I didn't realize that there were other cultures. I said, man, I actually apologized to her. About 10 years, I said, you didn't stand a chance. I said, it wasn't even you. It was just like I went there and was just exposed to a whole new world. But you gotta refresh again. Nah. Can't hear you. You gotta log back in and log back out. Nah, still can't hear you. Yeah, that's his man. Trap wife got him fucking him up every time the stories get good. She like, I don't want to hear that shit. Call him and stop that stuff, man. Now what happens is when you're doing these shows, I learned this from doing Mark Rogers and a lot of other shows. Anytime you do these shows and you don't put your phone on do not disturb, it's gonna like you're gonna have to reset it. But it's all good. You there?
Yeah, I'm here, dog. My bad.
Nah, you straight. You straight. Yeah. But nah, that care program, program really did care.
Oh yeah, no, it was outrageous, man. It was a hell of a time, man. It was one of them where it was, it was crazy. I mean, B-Mac met his wife in care program, you know what I'm saying? Like, we was there, man. Like, it was awesome.
So low key, I didn't really know any of that stuff. So when I came up there on campus, man, especially when I wasn't in that sun as much, I was a little lighter and I had the low haircut. Even though I'm shorter, cats would be like, girls be like, yo, Trap. I'm like, nah, I don't know who the hell. Well, a couple times I ain't gonna lie, it worked out to my benefit. But
hey, I mean, hey, listen, if I help you get some, I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
So, telling you some years later, man, I appreciate you.
Oh, hey, you good, dog? Hey, listen, I wanted everybody to win. You know what I mean? And I guess that was the difference between, when I got to school, we was fortunate because, it was different. Because at the time, like, Corey and them never really came back like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of made a vow to ourselves that we would be better communication-wise with the younger cats than they were with us at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't Corey and them fault per se. They just was, they were just how they were. You know what I'm saying? And so it was different, man. So like we loved when y'all came to school. We wanted y'all to win, man. You know what I'm saying? Like we wanted all of us to have the opportunity to win. And that was the difference. But like, yeah, we came in the care program, man. It was me, B-Mac, Mike Matthews. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, Florida High. Mike went to Florida High, my high school.
Mike Matthews from Carolina.
You talking about the basketball player? You talking about football?
The basketball player.
No, on God, Mike Matthews.
The tall Mike Matthews.
Tall Mike Matthews.
That end up marrying my baby mama Aisha.
I didn't know he married, but like, nah, yeah, it's played basketball at Florida State.
Mike is from Jersey.
Mike played with Brett Cimarelli. And from my high school, they went to the state championship and lost.
It can't be the same. Mike, that can't. What? No, man, it must have been different. Mike Matthews.
I'm gonna send you anyway. Go on by what you.
But yeah, so Mike, shout out to Mike, man. Mike and Aisha got a little son together, MJ, man. I can't wait to see what he turned into. But yeah, man. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so we in care program, man. It was great, man. Like, but leaving, have to go home. Cause my daddy was sick. You know what I mean? Like, it was different. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
No. So going back to,
I forgot where we at, man. But go ahead.
No, we was just talking about just coming there and then your first. So you guys played a little bit. You get there in 2000. 2000, you guys play in the national championship. You play in the Orange Bowl. Snoop gets suspended and some different things. It's a crazy story that we got this new animation thing that we're doing with the Doak Boys too. So I want to hear you tell me. You told me this story because the last time I think we really hung was Tag's first year. I think we was at that cigar lounge, and we was just. I was telling some of them stories we can't tell, but like it was some very, very. It was a great time. It was a great time. But can you tell us about the bowl game? And again, this is another for my guy KP. In this story, it's another good Bowden moment. That's illegal. You smoking?
Yeah, it's H90, the Phineas gauge.
Yeah, I can tell you. I can see. I see the label. Trap is also my cigar brother, man. Like Trap is this. this was one Trap put me in some hellified conversations on Twitter with some people that I had no business even being associated with. Like, I mean, superstar celebrities, but we was in that bitch just talking about, especially during COVID, talking about cigars. I also now can do things that Trap was doing about 6-7 years ago. Trap be smoking a cigar at 10 a.m. and asking us on Twitter, like, "Hey man, what y'all doing?" I'm like, "Well, Trap, some of us have to work, Travis. Like, we can't all." But I've made some pretty good moves so I can smoke a cigar whenever the fuck I want to smoke a cigar now. But talk to us about the bowl game a little bit.
Oh man. So I see where you're going with there. So it was. So this was So now this is, national championship game, and so me and Rich have been getting into it. Me and Chris have been getting into it probably about because I borrowed the Varsity Blues tape, right? It hadn't, and like me, we just hadn't watched it yet. You know what I'm saying? So I hadn't took it back yet. You know what I mean? But I'm like, it's a tape, man. You know what I'm saying? Like you live right downstairs. Like, nigga, ain't nobody keeping your motherfucking tape. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we got into it over some shit. I took the shit back and was like, man, don't even, because he just was at the time, maybe young because, if I don't know if he's the only child at the time. I don't know how they go down, but like whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? And so we get to the national championship game. And so B Mac was in a room full of all older cats, you know what I'm saying? So like they was all everybody who played, Tay Cody, Cookie Thomas, D Gibb, all them boys old, like they was old. All them boys finna go to the league. All them boys get like they was gone, you know what I'm saying? And so like they was kind of like, wasn't hazing, but they was kind of like, hey, let's rough up the freshmen, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I ain't gonna let my roommate get rolled on, you know what I'm saying? Who ride it on by the whole room, so I jump in it, you know what I'm saying? And we got like a little, young dudes versus the old dudes. Because it ended up being me, B Mac, and I think maybe Big Ray jumped in at some point. You know what I'm saying? It was like a little bullshit ass little tussle, kind of like wrestling and shit. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, but it's more not wrestling. We like doing pushing and shoving type shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Talking shit. And at the time, bowl game, nigga, they didn't give us our laundry bag. You know what I'm saying? At the bowl game, like how when we was here at the laundry bag, you put the loop on there, the little plastic loop. They just throw the whole bag inside the washing machine and give you your shit back. You know what I'm saying? Well, at the bowl games, it was the first time. I mean, like when we get laundry loops. You know what I'm saying? So it was like you put the loop through all like the legs of everything, and then throw that shit in there. You know what I'm saying? So doing this little pushing and shoving shit, nigga Chris decides to fucking throw his laundry loop and his fucking jock and his tights hit me dead in my motherfucking face. Right? And I'm looking at myself like, so I wanted to beat his ass right then. You know what I'm saying? But everybody was like holding me back. No. I said, dog, this nigga is the quarterback. And just hit like, nigga, like, you just hit like, nigga, you aimed at me, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was like in my mind, like, so like, nigga, I'm over there hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I tell you I'm hot, like I'm 38 hot. So I go back to the room and B Mac can see it in my eyes, nigga. My shit's red, nigga. Like, B Mac to know me long enough now to know when I'm ready to fucking throw down, right? And so he like, man, let that go, down, let that go, man. Then all of a sudden, later on, he gonna hit me with the dang, man, nigga, he was a jock though. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, nigga, so now I'm getting even hotter. You know what I'm saying? So I sleep on the beef. You know what I'm saying? I sleep on the beef. I'm just, nigga, but I'm hot though. So the next morning we got practice early. You know what I'm saying? And I make sure I'm the first person in this motherfucking locker room. Cause this nigga got to see me. You know what I'm saying? Like this bitch, I gotta sleep on this beef, and I'm madder now than I was yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm madder now than I was yesterday. So I'm sitting in there, and Chris show, he like the last person show up in the motherfucking in the little locker room, which our locker room at bowl games is ballrooms. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So he the last one to show up. So ain't nobody even in the room but a couple of older cats straggling behind. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even get that motherfucker time, man. As soon as he sat down, nigga, I punched that motherfucker. He was choking the shit out of his ass. I can't even pull me off of him, dog. I'm talking about swell him up, nigga. Try to dot that shit close. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm hot. I tell you, I'm still mad. Even after I beat his ass, I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm mad I had to beat his ass. Cause I felt like our whole class should have been tighter than that. You know what I'm saying? So now, like I've always been that kid to get in a fight and whoop somebody's ass and then be mad and like emotional about whooping their ass. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still like mad, like nigga, I'm hot. You know what I'm saying? And well, of course Chris ain't practice that day. You know what I'm saying? So then like they they somebody tell him what's going on, what happened. I told him, I said, motherfucker hit me in the face with his fucking jock strap yesterday, nigga. What you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? It's like, why you didn't fight him yesterday? I said, because the fucking seniors wouldn't let me fight him because they were talking about we don't want to be a distraction. Well, after I slept on it for a night, I told him, fuck your distraction and fuck y'all. I'm gonna whoop this motherfucker ass. He didn't hit you with the fucking jock strap. You know what I'm saying? So that happens. Coach Bowden calls me up. You know what I'm saying? He called me up to his cause at the time they give Coach Bowden the suite and shit, right? So he called me up to the suite and he slides his fucking paper over to me. He's like, I need you to read this and apologize to the team. I say, what? I said, what? He said, yeah, I just need you to read it. Don't even worry about it. I understand, but I just need you to read this apology. I said, fuck. Right? That was just an apology, like, I'm sorry for being a distraction. I didn't want to do that. Whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? And the seniors, they understood. You know what I'm saying? But then, Coach Rick was just as much a distraction that week than the fight. You know what I'm saying? So
That's true.
but yeah, man. So but I laughed with Coach Bowden. Like it was, and that's really what started the 4-year long. I mean, that's really what escalated even the 4-year long beef that me and Chris had. You know what I'm saying? Even longer because I hadn't spoken to Chris in I don't know how long. And not that we were ever really cool like that. You know what I'm saying? Not that we were ever really cool like that, but I just sometimes I wish that, it wouldn't have been like that because I think the experience would have been different. You know what I mean? And, and even for Chris, you know what I'm saying? I look at it as, because, like, when I got to the league, when I was going to Combine, it was teams that asked me about that shit. You know what I'm saying? And
they asked you about that at the Combine?
yeah. The Combine, they know all that shit, man. It ain't nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The NFL told me my back and my neck was fucked up before I knew my back and my neck was fucked up. Like, they know everything, man. And, it's, so they asked me about that shit. They asked me about a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that was one thing. So what happened with you? Like they asked me about something. So when I was a senior in high school, so the team I told you I was the National Player of the Year on, the National Defensive Player of the Year on was the Reebok ESPN team, right? Girl, we're in Chicago, right? And so at the time, so there was a night we went out. It was me, DJ, it was a bunch of cats. It was in the car. You know what I'm saying? And so we take a cab, we go to a strip club, right? which we underage, but they don't realize we underage because we still bigger than everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so we go to strip club that night, and then we come back in. We call the same cab company, right? Same cab company. Not even, I don't even know if we was there an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like we really ate some food, threw a couple dollars, and then giggled for a little bit, and then headed back, right? Call the same company. And one thing is, man, a dog always know how to find his way home. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't just finna just pull the wool over my eyes, right? So dude who picked us up realized we was young. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And one thing, like I said, a dog always know how to find his way home. I got a good sense of direction. You know what I'm saying? And I'm watching him as he riding circles. You know what I'm saying? Through downtown Chicago, all you know what I'm saying? Like we passed North Aberdeen probably 3-4 times. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sitting there cussing this motherfucker out. Like, man, you going in circles, man. Take us back to the hotel. You know what I'm saying? So when he pulls up to the hotel, the bill is like double, almost triple what it was for us going. You know what I'm saying? So I hop out like, I'm not paying you shit. You know what I'm saying? And so we all like took off. Pew. You know what I'm saying? Well, the people end up the people running like Tom Lemmings and the people running like the little thing, they end up coming down there and paying it. And they was like asking us what happened. And you know, everybody else kind of like that's why me and Coach Bowden always got along, because I would say how I feel and I say what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a snitch, but at the same time, I'm not finna fucking bow down for no fucking body to if I know I'm right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I'm like, nah, this motherfucker picked us up. Same company. We called back the same exact company. You know what I'm saying? Which the rate is the same. It ain't like Uber now where they change the rate per the time you go somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like this is a set rate. When I got in the car, the same thing. It said on the thing for the mileage, but he ended up running circles, so that's how we ended up with almost 3 times more. So when I got you know, we jumped out, whatever, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? The people who ran the thing, ESPN, Reebok, and Tom Lemmings and them, they paid the bill or whatever, right? And it wasn't that we didn't have the money to pay the bill. It just was the principle of the shit, right? And so when the funny part is when I get to the league, when I'm not even in the league, I'm getting the combine. Like I forgot who I was meeting with, but it was like, hey man, tell us about the cab situation in Chicago. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, nigga, I ain't never even been to Chicago. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And then I'm realizing, oh shit, you talking about high school? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And talking about high school, I told him, I said, man, dude tried to rob us with no ski mask, basically. You know what I'm saying? And I said, but why you asking me about it? He said, oh, you was the ringleader. I said, what? It was 5 dudes and then 3 of us was the number 1 players in our position. Like, how was I the ringleader? You know what I'm saying? I said, they was like, cause you the first one to notice y'all was getting hit. I said, yeah, so what I'm not supposed to tell nobody? You know what I'm saying? They was like, well, I guess however it came down, I don't know who it was, but somebody said I basically orchestrated the shit. But they know everything, man.
They do. That was one of the wildest moments going into all of that, man. But that was that was definitely funny. I wanted to get that Chris story in there. I ain't gonna tell all the fight. We can't tell all the fight stories and all the things that have gone down.
We can't. I will say the funniest fight probably we ever saw was the almost naked fight with Big Luck and OJ. When OJ was like, was you don't remember that one?
I don't know nothing about that, man. That's crazy. One, because Big Luck's so much different now than what he was in college. And I've only seen OJ a little bit on Facebook, but OJ was crazy than a motherfucker, man, in college, man.
OJ, the worst thing happened to OJ was them making him cut his hair.
Yep.
If OJ ever cut his hair, OJ probably played in the league. Because OJ, like when they cut his hair, like you talking about, like OJ came into school 265, 270. He left out 245.
Yeah.
I ain't never in my life heard nobody losing.
More than the time you gain weight.
Exactly. And he looked like Busta Rhymes on steroids his freshman year. And it just looked like Busta Rhymes' little bitty brother. You know what I'm saying? By the time it was done. And But so OJ, and we still respect OJ because OJ was a goon, you know what I'm saying? And talk hella shit, was funny as hell. But so OJ in the shower, right? You know how the shower was. OJ stepped away to go get some soap out one of the dispensers. You know what I'm saying? He come back, Lucky in his shower spot. And you know, at the time, you know, the locker room, even though it was still fairly new, there was like different showers that gave different pressure. You know what I'm saying? And Luck was like in the shower. So all you heard was, fuck nigga, get out my shower. He said, well, damn, fuck nigga, get out my shower. Like, what? Then, like, Luck got to talking shit. OJ got to talking shit. Both these niggas butt ass naked now. And OJ go, nigga, I ain't finna whoop your ass right now because it's real gay for us to fight naked. OJ literally goes to his locker, takes a pair of damn Timberlands out. Mind you, I wasn't even cold yet. We like, this nigga OJ keep Timberlands in the motherfucker in the locker room. Takes a pair of Timberlands on, puts on his practice shorts back on, puts his Timberlands on. Nigga waits for Luck right there at the damn symbol here in the middle of the locker room and got the bing, 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 bing. Nigga got the tussling right as soon as I'm like, oh shit. That was funny. That was funny. That was a good fight. I missed the fight that I missed that I always heard about was one when I was in court when Bunk whooped Castillo.
Oh, so yeah. Damn, oh, yeah, we're gonna get into that too. But so because one of the funniest Odell voices ever heard was during that time. But so you remember Bump, how he got cut against Florida, right?
Yeah, I remember because I ended up the dude who cut him, I ended up whooping his ass the rest of the game because I was hot about that shit. But yeah, Bunk had during the off season.
So Bunk was sitting there. Because we all came in the same class. Bunk over there heated. He like, man, I always tell people the story about me and Bunk when we first interacted during freshman tour days. I still legit think this motherfucker crazy.
No question.
Like, this is before Bluetooth. People don't even got cell phones like that. And I damn sure know he ain't had no cell phone or the little headsets. And I guess Odell had been whooping his ass. Now, actually, I ain't gonna lie to you. I remember looking at the defense. Defense was getting their ass whooped during our freshman tour days.
Well, no, but that wasn't your freshman tour days when that happened though.
No. I was just saying about how I know Bunk crazy. This was the spring when this happened. But Castillo did the same thing. You said what? Or was it during the fall? Was it during camp?
No, it was during camp. But what year y'all came in?
We came in 2002.
So you came in 2002. So this is before the 2003 season. So this is the following year. So this Bunk sophomore year, your redshirt freshman year.
Yeah, it was. So Castillo cuts him.
This is training camp.
Yeah, Castillo cuts him the same way that Buddy from Florida hit him. And Bunk, they bumped at practice, but then Bunk said, "Nah, man, this shit ain't over." Bunk came into the goddamn locker room and was ready to get after it again.
Yeah, and sat at the where. So for all y'all who ain't ever been in the old locker room, for each row, at the end of the row of the lockers, you had a front trash can. We sit on each side of the trash can. So the first row you walk in was the offensive line row, which was probably the biggest. It went to offensive line and went around tight ends. Then came the receivers. You know what I'm saying? Then there was the curtain. Then it came to the defense, all other, and vice versa. So basically, the O-line, D-line, we flanked the ends of the locker room. You know what I'm saying? So the first installment of lockers was offensive line on the nearest to the front door, and the nearest to the practice field was the defensive line. Well, they say Bunk sat there at the taping damn thing and waited for Castillo to walk in. And they say, boy, Bunk got the discipline in Castillo, man.
Man, that was a big dude. Cool. Big ass. Hey, Cole, you crazy, cuz.
Yeah, but you don't remember Bunk had a damn lake in the front seat of the car? man, bunk whole front seat of the car, like the flow of the car. Like it rained one day, the nigga had water all in the floorboard and couldn't get it out. And literally, so one day, man, he like, yeah, man, let me get you right. I'm like, hey, man, I can't sit right here, man. I had to sit in the back seat because there was water on the floor in the front seat. And that stayed like that. It stayed like that for 2 weeks, bro.
This nigga ball right here, boy.
No.
So going into that, you brought like so you had the so you go through there, you play your freshman year, your true well, then you have your red shirt. Odell gives you the game plan. You go, so it was 03 is when
When I caught
is
the
when
charge.
You said where?
When I caught the charge.
Yeah, when you caught the charge.
So 03. So 02, I balled, and I actually that year in 02, me and Doc petitioned the league to see what our draft status was, because like I was second on the team that year in tackle for loss behind Zoe. Doc didn't have a great year, but because he was banged up too, because both of us came off of surgery that previous year. His was for his Achilles, mine was for my ankle. And so both of us balled out, for the most part. You know what I mean? I just made a few more plays that year or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But so I had shoulder surgery in January 18th, 2023. And the only reason I remember that date is because the three surgeries I had when I was in school, all of them were January 18th, 2000, whatever the year was. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm talking.
Now you had the scope, or you had rotator.
Full reconstructive shoulder surgery, right? And essentially 5 surgeries in one. You know what I'm saying? They shaved out my collarbone, my subscapularis, my supraspinatus, my rotator cuff, my labrum, all that stuff, and then get anchored down, all of this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm dealing with this girl. She on the damn softball team. This bitch. But she over there mad because I didn't want to make her my girlfriend. And then it was a long story, which I really don't have fucking time or the patience to tell that shit right now. But the bitch basically said like, "Oh man, well, really, she didn't say this shit." You know what I'm saying? That's the crazy part. She never said it. It was so she came over after we've been sleeping with each other for a while at that point now. You know what I'm saying? So she comes over, and later on, after she goes home later on that night, her roommate was like, because I guess she told her roommate, "Oh yeah, we not gonna do nothing," blah blah blah. And then she came over, sucked and fuck, all that shit, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then so roommate was like, another little messy bitch on the track team. Was like, she's like, yeah, we had sex, but I kind of didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? But I did it, blah, blah, blah. He says, oh, so he raped you? And she was like, huh? And I guess first, so no, but the roommate is who called the laws. You know what I'm saying? The roommate called the laws or whatever. And this only happened the next day. This is, I guess, whenever she saw the roommate or whatever, she's like, hey, what's up with you and Travis, blah, 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 whatever it was, right? So, or it might have been that. Listen, I gotta rethink everything. You know what I'm saying? So, maybe a week or two later, right? I get approached by who's now the head track coach for Florida State, Harlan Metters. Fuck that nigga too. And he goes, he was a throws coach, so he's trying to get me to throw this whole time at Florida State anyway, because I was one of the top throwers in the country coming out of high school. So he approached me. I'm in a theory and practice of coaching softball class. You know what I'm saying? Which we literally right behind the track on that little vacant field, which is now something else now. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think it's it used to be like the ROTC type shit or whatever back in the day. You know what I mean? And he goes, hey, such and such felt like you took advantage of the friendship. And I looked at him with my arm in the sling, like, what the fuck you mean took advantage of the friendship? Because we fucked and I don't call her no more? Like, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And he beating around the bush and all. I'm like, hey man, spit it the fuck out what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? Right. And so he was like, well, she feel like she said no. I said, she never said no. You know what I'm saying? She said KNOW. You know we shouldn't be doing this because I had a girlfriend who was the star on the volleyball team. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, nigga, so I go to Miss Overton, talk to her about the shit at the time. And then I guess like Miss Overton kind of tried to play the in-between or whatever. And then we get the president at the time, wasn't TK, but it was or the vice president, you know what I mean? Whoever TK's vice president was at the time. And her janky ass was like, well, you know, let's just try to, you know, why don't you take the semester off? And at first I was like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, nigga, she's supposed to graduate. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want none of this shit to get out. Because at the same time, I know how all of the media is at the time. Because now media is starting to grow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the internet is really popping. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The, you know, Sports Center. So I'm like, I knew how that shit was going to look. You know what I'm saying? And so I finally tell my parents or whatever, right? And this is going on for like 3 weeks now. I tell my daddy. My daddy was like, did you do it? No. And I told him no, because I don't lie to my parents, man. Ain't no point in doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he asked, he didn't ask me, did I do it? He asked me what happened, right? And I told him everything that happened. He said, well, fuck that shit. We ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, and basically, so it was like Valentine's Day, I guess, would be 03-ish, I guess. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in Evansville, Indiana with my sister. And he's like, fuck that shit. He said, I'll be in Tallahassee on Monday. And mind you, we ain't got it like that, nigga. My daddy dropped everything, flew to Tallahassee. He's like, my son ain't going nowhere. He say he ain't do it, he ain't do it. And I believe my son don't lie to me. He ain't got no point lying to me. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, and so, you know, at the time, and what also was cool with me was that because when it happened, you know, the first person I told before I told my parents was Coach Bowden and Odell. Right? So, and you know, I think I've heard you tell the story before. Like, if you honest with Coach Bowden always had you back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
If you lie to him is when you're gonna fuck yourself. You know what I mean? Like, as a freshman, we stole a little gator. You know what I'm saying? You know, like the little 4x4 gators, little green John Deere gators.
Mm-hmm.
We stole one. It was raining outside. So we hot wired that bitch and drove it up to the dorm, to the Burt, and left it there. You know what I'm saying? Well, the reporters stolen, and they talked about all of the people who was there and blah, 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 blah. And they called me in, and I was the first. I think I was the first one to get called in because, you know, I guess I'm at the time I'm, you know, the most recognizable because it's really just our class. You know what I'm saying? And Corbin called me in and was like, yeah, what happened? I said, well, I took it. You know, it was raining. We wasn't gonna be able to get, at the time there was no steps. Like, they were doing construction at the time. So there was no steps, it was all mud. You know what I'm saying? So like essentially we'd have to walk out of the stadium. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'd have to walk either out of the stadium or all the way down Pensacola. You know what I'm saying? Which had the construction to then walk around. So I'm like, yeah, I took it and we drove. You know what I mean? And he was like, well, who else was there? I said, man, it was my fault. You know what I'm saying? My idea is my fault. That was on me. You know what I'm saying? Don't even bring nobody else into it. And he after that point, Cole Bowden respected me on a whole nother level because he was like, dang, this is a stand-up guy. You know what I'm saying? And I told him, I said, I ain't there's no reason to lie. Like, there's nothing you can do to me. You know what I'm saying? To make me lie to you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't my mama or my daddy, nigga. Like, you ain't gonna pull no belt out, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when my daddy gets there, he's like, you're not leaving. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's when the firestorm start. That's when the firestorm start. You know what I'm saying? Where you know, now all of a sudden I'm being investigated. Now all of a sudden, you know, they ask me how everything went down. I'm telling them everything that went down. I'm telling them all the people we talked to, all the people that knew, blah, blah, blah. All the people who knew I was talking to this girl, all the people, everything. Well, they had this woman detective out there, this lady detective out there in the TPD. Well, she didn't investigate shit. She heard what the girl said. She heard what her friend said. She didn't ask nobody else, didn't ask no witnesses that we had. None of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, and lied, basically lied and said that, oh, she went to Planned Parenthood and they asked her was she raped. You know what I'm saying? And she said Planned Parenthood is what was all this other stuff, right? And that was their premise for issuing an arrest warrant for me. You know what I'm saying? So I got arrested like a couple days before my birthday that year, right? For my 19th birthday, I guess that would have been. No, my 20th birthday. No, I guess no. What did that have been? My 21st birthday, excuse me. Right? Before my 21st birthday, right? And fast forward to camp, you know what I'm saying? When I have to go to trial. Mind you now, in between this time, TPD, you know what I'm saying? Florida law enforcement, everybody, they asked me, the first thing they asked me, were you willing to take a lie detector test? I said, you motherfucking right. You know what I'm saying? I passed 2 lie detector tests, right? That the police gave me. You know what I'm saying? Passed 2 lie detector tests the police gave me. And they still charged me with motherfucking rape, right? Like, I'm like, do I motherfucker, am I a Navy SEAL? Do I know how to beat the fucking, like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So, I go to court or whatever. When we bring the same reason why they said, oh, the police officer got on stage and said, well, you know, the Planned Parenthood lady said that she thought that she was raped and this and that. But guess what? Did the police ever speak to the Planned Parenthood lady? No. Guess who she asked? The girl and her friend, right? So, which is crazy because the day that supposedly happened, or the day afterwards, was picture day. And they got all the pictures of her smiling, having a good time. They even got video that they posted for the Seminoles.com of the video laughing Kiki the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So then they get the Planned Parenthood lady on there. Planned Parenthood lady's like, nah, I ain't never say she was raped. I said she had a superficial tear that I thought was either a yeast infection or she wiped too hard when she was wiping with toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? And she's like, huh? She's like, no, I never thought she was raped. She's like, it wasn't none of that. You know what I'm saying? So once again, how the fuck did y'all ever issue an arrest warrant? Well, looking back, I'm kind of glad they did because it got to set the record straight and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? And I tried to sue everybody, but the lawyer I hired really didn't want to sue everybody. His ass was over there in cahoots with Willie Meggs and the rest of them rap bastards out there in the north part of state of Florida. You know what I mean? But that's here nor there. You know what I'm saying? Because it eventually cost me money in the draft. It cost me money because everybody and their mama said I was a character issue, and I'd never been in trouble day in my life except for that bullshit. And all of a sudden, that tainted my character. Nigga, when they did the investigation on me from the NFL, the only thing like they asked about was, like I told you, the fucking thing in Chicago, which I was wrong, and the fucking rape charge. You know what I'm saying? But if you let what's that fool that got fired from the Raiders, Mike Mayock and the rest of them, I was a character issue. You know what I'm saying? Like I became a character issue for what? I never had fucking detention in my life. You know what I'm saying? I was one of only 2 black kids to grow up one of 4 black kids to grow up in an all-white fucking neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? And had been pulled over 1 fucking time. You know what I'm saying? When I wasn't driving. You know what I mean? Like, what? You go down to the LA Sheriff Department, the Ventura County Sheriff Department, and them motherfuckers tell you we ain't never had no problem with him. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't think I stick out like a sore thumb, then you sadly was that motherfucking neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, you can talk to any girl I've ever dated in my entire fucking life, which you know the NFL did. So here's the crazy part. They're all my girlfriends I dated. So when I was high, at one point I dated his older sister. You know what I'm saying? And they called her. She was like, "No, he was a good dude." Always, you know what I'm saying? They called another friend of mine who's right now, she's the vice president of one of the big bio companies, biotech companies. She's like, nah, he was always good to me, super gentleman. They called a girl I dated as a freshman in high school. Nah, super gentleman. They called a girl that we played girlfriends and boyfriends. We was in the 7th grade, who's now dead. You know what I'm saying? He was always good to me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. When they called Aisha, yeah, well, I mean, he cheated on me, but he was a good fucking dude. You know what I'm saying? Like nigga vouched for my character, nigga, but I became a character because of false accusations. And that to me it gave me such a bad taste in my mouth, man. It fucked me for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I always tell people, like, you know, when things happen on the news and they're just like, I said, listen to everybody, but believe all facts. And I said, because you never know what goes into these things. I said, I've seen this directly affect somebody. And when it goes to trial, one thing that anybody who does court stuff, and just having a sister who's an attorney, and I almost wanted to do that myself, like, anything can happen once it goes to a jury. And that's the scary part. It doesn't matter how right or wrong you are. It depends upon what the people believe. And
yeah, and no question. And I think for me is, like, I had an all women jury. All women. One black lady, all white women. And you tell me that when you came out here and told your story, like, nigga, let's put it this way. When her daddy got on the stand and was talking about, they put him on the stand because he played for the Seahawks or whatever. And he was supposed to be able to talk through players playing through injury, right? And he couldn't even look me in the eye, dog, because he knew his fucking child was lying.
I mean, even this, like, you had the shoulder surgery on Jerry. I didn't know it was that intense. I had a labrum surgery the year after that, and my daughter's mother, like, literally, I was here. She could have we got in an argument, and she did that. Boy, you would have thought I was like, I thought she shot me, dog.
And mind you now, this is 10 days after surgery, right? So let me tell you a little bit how they shit started to unravel for them. They called in his expert witness, this doctor, and I got his paper. I can't remember his name, but he was a doctor of like the head physical therapist guy at FAMU. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever his name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was their main guy, right? And so they give him the copy of my surgery, right? They give him her outline of her story about what happened or what supposedly happened, right? And the doctor comes back to him and says, "This is all a lie. This didn't happen. This couldn't happen." They said, "What? What you mean?" They said, "Because mind you, this girl's 6'3", 6'2", 260 pounds. Fucking, she's a high school fucking 3 technique. You know what I'm saying? Like,
she was stronger than me. For people at the time, she could lift more than me. Like,
yeah, of course.
I'm just letting people know. And actually, I didn't realize she was bigger than me at the time. Like, she was a starting fullback at Florida State.
No question. And so so he goes, if he even made the movement to do what she said, he'd have been back in surgery the next day, because he'd have ripped up everything that they got done 10 days prior. And guess what them motherfuckers told that man? Hide your evidence. We never had this conversation. It just so happened that one of the people that work in the prosecution building was friends with my attorney, and just called him and said, "Hey, why don't you get this guy a call?" And this guy then became our expert witness. Because then he told him, I told him. So then all of a sudden, they started training the girl to change her story. Like, oh, he kept his arms in here and was shuffling me this way and shuffling me that way. Nigga, it's still, don't get, let's move on, right?
I was saying, it was good. Long story short, you beat the charges, and how I found out about it is Odell stopped the damn meeting, came out and said, like running around, everybody like, man, what the hell is wrong? What the hell is wrong with Dale? Hey, man, he big. And this just came in, and I was just like, damn. And even then, at that time, I was so oblivious to what was going on. I was like, man, B, what? There's like, you ain't noticed Trap been gone? I said, damn.
Man,
I have been gone.
I was facing 15 years, bro.
Yeah.
15 years.
And so what a lot of people don't understand, the reason why I wanted you to say that is because a lot of people listen to this show and they see the things that we get, the scholarships, and now with these kids getting bread and stuff like that, they think it's just all smiles and Hallmark cards. But it's like the things that a lot of people have to go through. And even just, again, going back to your freshman year, coming in cross country to the South, completely different from Cali. Pop's got prostate cancer, all of these different things. You got to deal with this shit and learn how to grow up and be an adult. And at the same time, play at a high level so that you can get a chance to achieve your dreams, all while maintaining above a 2.0 GPA in college, man. It's a lot more that goes to this stuff than just playing football.
No question, man. I was 2,974 miles away from home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, that was to me, that was the reason why I wanted to come to the school in the first place. Because I knew I couldn't be the man that my father had raised me to be if I stayed home. You know what I'm saying? Like, my parents had raised me to be if I stayed home. You know, and when I explained that to them, they understood it, because I'm like, if I go to UCLA, like I used to be on, like, it was a girl I dated on UCLA campus at the time. You know what I'm saying? And my brother-in-law was over there I think he was like assistant dean of one of them schools. You know what I'm saying? My sister was over there. She was teaching or she had her practice down the street from there. So I was always on campus. You know what I'm saying? And I could have went home every week and get my laundry done. I could have went home every day and got something to eat. I could have went home every day and did whatever. You know what I'm saying? But hey, Monte, I could have went home every day and did whatever, right? And I knew if I was to be able to do that, then I would never grown up to be the person I am. Like, when you got, JG used to say, man, guys, be careful with your money, because we all know it's going to be too much month at the end of the money. And at the time, our birth checks was $89 that we used to get. And you talking about these kids getting the money they get now. Imagine being on full ride, 2,974 miles away from home, and they give you $89 a month to put in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, here's the crazy part. They don't feed us every meal at the time. They don't feed us every meal at the time. Like, it was because it was like the NCAA rules. So they gave us, if we were in the building, they gave us breakfast, right? Like, everywhere we had to go, we had to come like to the stadium to do it. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So, like, only during the season, because you get your 3 meals. Otherwise, they supposedly gave you enough money to get your meals at other places. But we knew you couldn't go anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you remember, like, we was on campus, we had but a certain amount of money on campus to get meals. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if you got class on one side of campus, you had to go all the way, you know what I'm saying, to the stadium to be able to get fed. You know what I mean? And so I say that to say, like, that helped me grow into a whole different dude because of, you know what I'm saying, because of the struggle, and because I was there with a bunch of other dudes who all we did was eat, breathe, sleep, and piss football. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just, like, I laughed because I was sleeping with the girl downstairs because she was cooking for us on Sundays. The big girl, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, in the Burt, you know what I mean? Like, we had to eat, you know what I mean? Like, I was hosting players on a recruiting visit from my true freshman year up until my senior year, just because I knew if I go to Silver Slipper, I'm going to get a meal. And I'm going to be able to bring meals back for everybody.
I was talking with X last week about that. He was like, you remember? I said, you got that right. I remember the Silver Slipper. If we got to the Silver Slipper, we could eat.
That's what I'm talking about, man. And, like, that to me was, like, that was what college was about.
because now it became a struggle every day. You know what I'm saying? It became a us versus them. How can I be successful, and what do I got to be successful? You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing is you got to be on time places, man. Like, I was never late. I ain't have one late fine when I got in the NFL because I was always used to getting up on. Like, I lived 30 miles from my fucking high school. You know what I'm saying? So I literally used to have to hop on the 101 freeway every single day. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, guess what? I got to be out of the house by a certain time to get to school at a certain time, so I can get a parking spot and be okay. You know what I mean? So, like, being on time, and like, that's the thing. Like, with some of these kids, they don't give a shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like, but for me, it was, I'm on my own, and I'm not going to embarrass my people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm I'm the first generation U.S. born in my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I take immense pride in making sure my family feel proud. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like, you know, going back, and not to go back on other shit, but to be called a character issue, man, it was the most biggest form of disrespect. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it is.
I definitely understand. I always tell people like this: you can call me a lot, but don't attack my character. Like,
Yeah.
that bothers me more than anything.
Yeah.
Stuff. So, but the cool thing is that you got that you persevered through it, drafted the first round, and you were drafted by the Chargers, right? Or were you drafted to Houston?
Texans drafted.
Texans. Okay. So you went to the Texans. What was that whole your draft process like? And, like, you know, when you were doing interviews, like, did you have an idea like that's probably where you were going to fall at, or did you have aspirations you were going to go a little higher?
No, I knew I could go. I could go as high as 4, and I go as low as 17. Because if I would have went to the Senior Bowl, I think I go pick 4. But I opted not to go to Senior Bowl. My Achilles was bothering me. It was even bothering me in the bowl game we played that year. And I just didn't want to go out there and fuck around and not be able to give my all, not be able to look like we looked, you know, during practice. And you know, so that kind of wore on me a little bit. But, like, I got drafted here. We played a 3-4. I was a 4-3 guy. You know, we got off the ball at Florida State. We didn't do that here. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of affected, you know, a lot of, you know, that kind of affected a lot of my going forward for a while I was here. You know, it was funny because at one point, you know, I had an agent that asked me, you know, it wasn't my agent, but he was like, "Hey, man, I can get you out of here if you sign with me. Basically, I can get you traded." I didn't know at the time I probably should have done that, you know what I'm saying? Because I was so loyal to my agent, because I'm a loyal guy, you know what I mean? But, and I wanted to persevere and show them I could do it, but it's kind of like I needed a fresh start. So when I got traded finally to San Diego told me they've been trying to trade for me for the previous 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh shit, you know what I mean? So you know, it ended up working itself out or whatever. And you know, but the process was difficult because, like I said, I knew I could go to Tampa at 4. I think it was Detroit or Minnesota at 10. You know, on my visit to Dallas, who had the 11th pick, you know, both me, Sean Merriman, and where me and we was all on our visit together. You know what I mean? So yeah, me, Sean, DeMarcus was all there together. Training, getting ready for the draft was me, Darren Sproles, Sean Merriman, and Pac-Man Jones. And so we were all together. So that was a cool process. But then, you know, like I said, I could go as high as, if I could choose it again, I'd have rather, you know, like, I love the Texans organization. They still take care of me, you know, to this day. You know what I mean? Like, they always looking out for me, you know, and always making sure I'm okay. And I love the organization and the ownership here. You know, but at the time it was, you know, as far as playing wise, I wish I'd have went to Cincinnati, or, you know, dropped even further and go to the Colts. You know what I mean? Or getting a defense that played the style that we played at Florida State. But so that was a difficult process in itself. You know what I mean? But as far as draft day was cool. I remember I had 2 phones at the time, so we on like a conference call with me, B Mac, AB, and Big Ray, and all of us are sitting in on one phone, and then my other phone, which the league all had the numbers, right? They were I had a girl who I talked to at the time. She's older. She was a lawyer at the time, right? Lawyer in Tallahassee, and she calls me. And I literally I ended up cursing her out because like she called and I'm thinking like it's picked like 7 or 8 or something. You know what I mean? And like I'm like, you tired of my line? What if somebody just tried to call me? Right. And so and back then picks was like 20 minutes long. Or 20 or 25 minutes in between picks. You know what I'm saying? Then when you traded a pick, they got another 20 minutes.
20
You know what I'm
minutes.
saying? Like, so it was. And then I was on the West Coast, and my body still used to getting up like in Tallahassee, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm up all morning. The draft don't start until like 12 o'clock my time, or not even 2. Like it started, I forgot what time it started. Well, whatever time. But like it was hours went by. Hours went by before I got drafted. That's why, like, when you look at old photos of like Aaron Rodgers still in the green room, which I didn't go because one of the reasons I didn't want to be, I wanted to be part of my family, you know what I mean? Which I still didn't get to do because the Texans called when they drafted me. It was like, can you be on a plane tonight? And I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know what I'm saying? So I went to NFL Network, did a show there, which because it was right down the street. And then I flew out. Knowing what I know now, I'd have told them you can fly me in the morning so I can party with my family, you know what I mean? But I always respected the business part of it, you know what I mean? And yeah, man. So it was a cool experience, bro.
Yeah. So had a good career. Fast forwarding back to obviously we're done now. Looking at Florida State, I remember one of the funniest moments. I think you called me right after the Labor Day game, and he was just like, "Hey man, hey, if with blackout, wearing all black, Labor Day, Bobby coming back, Mickey going into the hall, and retiring Dub jersey. He's like, if this dude tag don't win, they need to fire him that night." And I was like, damn, Trap. But looking back on it, I will say you were one of the first ones to be like, nah, man, I ain't feeling this cat right
I said I wasn't feeling them because like, so one thing is that I always used to go back and hang out with Odell and go and let Dale see, get a second pair of eyes and all this other shit. And during spring ball, I used to go the first week of spring ball when they put pads on. And I told Dale then, I said, man, he ain't no good coach. He was like, "What? No, son, he's gonna be all right." I said, Dale, he can't coach. I said, I understand people play music at practice and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? I said, but the fucking music is so loud, you can't make any fucking correction. You know what I'm saying? I said, and players are like fucking kids. You know what I'm saying? You got to correct them in the moment because if your kid fuck up, you can't whoop them 2 weeks.
He was doing so good.
You can,
I can
hello,
hear you.
you
Yeah, we just can't see. Oh, there you go.
there,
You good.
yeah, like you can't whoop them 2 weeks later for a fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you try to correct stuff later on, like it ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Like you used to jump on our ass right now at practice when shit happened. You know what I'm saying? And by you not being able to do that, like how are we supposed to how you supposed to get better? You know what I mean? And he's like, no, son, we're gonna watch the film. I said, yeah, but how much time you gonna really have? You know what I'm saying? And so I just saw the way he moved, man. He was too much of a fan for me, bro. And then like it just seemed like, and being a Cali kid that experienced a lot of shit at the time. I know one thing about them boys, them Florida boys and them boys from down south. They need foots on their neck, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to put boot to ass, bro. Like because some of y'all the most undisciplined son bitches in the world. You know what I'm saying? Because of how they grew up. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be like kids. Kids want discipline, man. Kids want correction. Kids want like any kid wants that. You know what I'm saying? But when you got a kid thinking it's all about party, it's all about having a good time, like nigga, for us, winning was a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the good time for us. It like working hard at practice and grinding and getting cussed out. Told man, I'm gonna fucking go to El Paso and slap the shit out your mama. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't fun. It was good time because you knew at the end of the day is they care about me. They loving on me. You know what I'm saying? When I need it, they putting boot to ass when I need it, and they prepare me for what the future is. Coach Andrews, when he came in my house, you know what I'm saying? He told my mom and my dad he was gonna make me a better man when I came back home than when I left. And he kept up with that promise. And that should be the promise to all coaches. You know what I'm saying? To these kids. I'm gonna make you a better man. I'm gonna make your son a better man when he comes home. You know what I'm saying? And you don't do that by just giving motherfuckers willy-nilly free stuff and no discipline. You know what I'm saying? And you know, when he came in there, it was, you know, I felt like for one, I like to say is who was our AD at the time?
Will Cox was the guy who hired him.
Fuck Wilcox, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because he left us with that shit bag and then fucking around, went to the NCAA and been fucking with us ever since. You know what I'm saying? And so Wilcox, you know, makes us hire, which, you know, I think, you know, we all wish that it worked out. Like, don't get me wrong, I was his biggest, I wanted him to work out like a motherfucker. Because I knew in the grand scheme of it, the context behind it. You see what I'm saying? Is if Willie Taggart don't make it, it's gonna set black coaches back fucking 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like we would have never imagined that we would ever have no black coach when we were in school. Regardless, I mean, we thought Kobe would live forever. You know what I'm saying? But we'd have never imagined that it would have been no time soon. You know what I'm saying? And if you think that was gonna be like once he got there and wasn't doing it shit the right way, I knew we was gonna fuck it. You know what I'm saying? And then when we get into the stadium that day, remember I was there too, and blackout game, they playing all type of rap music in the stadium. They swag surfing before the game start. They doing all this other stuff, and then Virginia Tech proceeds to beat the brakes off our ass. You know what I'm saying? And it was a close game early, but it was a game that was lost because they were undisciplined in certain situations.
Yep, dropped the interception on a easy slant route. Just a lot of silly shit that happened.
Shit that happened. You know what I'm saying? Shit that we wouldn't have had going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then, you brought up a point earlier. Like I talked to a lot of the guys, and I used to tell them, you know, hey, they're like, hey man, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, and I'm like, and that could be true. I said, I'm here with you. I said, are you done venting? And they were like, yeah. I said, well, here's the thing. They getting paid, you not. You trying to get paid. I said, I played for Jeff Bowden. I said, we had to make a lot of shit work that wasn't great. I said, but it comes, but as you brought up, there was some discipline in the culture that was built before we got there, and then they just didn't have it. And then they went through, I told one person, I equated it to, he tried to come and be the cool stepdaddy after your dad left and you felt like he disciplined you too hard. Yeah. Them boys ain't really like how Jimbo left, nor did they really care for him too much, but you still got to go and be who you are. You got to be there. You brought up a good point. You got to be disciplinary.
Yeah, and then when you get in there, and so then like when that shit happened and we lost that game, I was like, he got to go. Then when the news broke that the entire first 15 was on the internet before the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like, hold on, are you kidding me? So we did a walkthrough with our preset first 15 plays in the parking lot of a hotel that was filled with fucking Virginia Tech people. And not only did they have the video, but they had the sky high video of it.
Yeah, they was up there. That's
Yeah.
the hotel. That's now the team hotel, but like, and you can't nobody get in and out of that bitch now. Which I give Mike props for that one.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, but see the thing is, even the conversation with Mike when he got there, right? Because I had I talked to Mike on the phone when he got the job. You know what I'm saying? And it was refreshing because you heard how much discipline he was trying to implement. He sounded different than talking to Willie. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like it sounded like, okay, yeah, he's our age. Mike Norvell's my age. You know what I'm saying? And it was like this dude's supposed to be a coach. You know what I'm saying? He's a coach. He don't sound like he's not a fan. He's a coach. He's coming in here to implement the shit that he needs to implement. You know what I'm saying? And at first I didn't know nothing about Mike Norvell. You know what I'm saying? But a kid that I had trained before was Martin Effetti. I don't know if you remember, but his brother Jermaine Effetti plays offensive line in the league. Martin D lineman played for him at Memphis. You know what I'm saying? And he swear by it. So I was like, I respect this kid, so I'm gonna respect what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And the way I watched Mike Norvell, Coach Norvell, go about his business, man, it's been phenomenal. You know, even when, you know, the stuff happened with Marvin, and he didn't throw Marvin under the bus. You know what I'm saying? I knew a lot of coaches that would have fucking threw him under the bus quick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Marvin was wrong. You know, at the same time, he probably say he was wrong now if you asked him. You know, and I've had immense respect for Coach Norvell, dog. And I love, once again, Dale's still there. Dale's having a great time. Dale's recruiting his ass off. You know what I mean? I wish somebody would pay Dale more. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I love where this program is going. Don't get me wrong. I hate the transfer portal, but we've been doing well in the transfer portal. You know what I'm saying? And I hate the transfer portal, not because we aren't doing good in it, but I hate it because for what it's done to high school football. You know what I'm saying? Because I really believe that high school football, like, we're going to lose out on seeing an all-time great because of the transfer portal. You know, I'll use this as an example. J.J. Watt was a 2 or 3 star. You know what I'm saying? Well, 2 and 3 stars are going to JUCO. You know what I'm saying? In some places, 2 and 3 stars are going to nobody's school like that. You know what I mean? And now you look at this place like what did JJ go to Western Michigan or Eastern, one of Michigan schools first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Them schools ain't recruiting no 3 stars. If they can go get a kid to transfer from Florida State or get a kid transfer from Alabama or one of them other places to be a tight end, you know what I'm saying? Them kids they not looking for development. Everybody looking for right now. You know what I'm saying? So I really believe, like, imagine if JJ goes to junior college and you don't get to see what he becomes and what he develops into. We miss out on somebody who's 3-time defensive player of the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in tune, we might miss out on his brother who comes behind him, which, he's boosted up by his name, but we might miss out on that too. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I look at it as saying, like what all-time great is getting lost in the shuffle because of the transfer portal right now?
That's a lot. And I see both. I'm with it. I see both sides to it. I know a lot of kids are getting pushed into it, but I also see I see why a coach from Western Michigan would do it, but I also see, as a high school coach, there's some lazy recruiting going on because you can do
Yeah,
it.
but that's what I'm saying. It's like you don't, and I was proud that we signed a bunch of high school kids at Florida State. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got a couple transfer portal guys. You know what I'm saying? But we also signed a good high school class.
Oh,
because
the way Mike did it, Mike was like, all right, we're at a deficit. I need guys that can come and play right away.
Of
course. So that's what he really, and now that he has that floor set and we got some guys, he's like, I can go get some more high school.
And that's how, but that's a good way to use the portal, because in the day is you still got to build up. You still got to build up guys. Like, it's a kid right now. I'll say, like, it's a kid right now who goes to school with my son. I've coached this kid, you know what I'm saying, when he's younger. And this kid is a 6 foot. I'm 5'11". I say 5'11", 165, 175 pound corner. Runs a freaking 10.5. You know what I'm saying? Last year, hadn't run this year. You know what I'm saying? And has all this talent in the world. You know what I'm saying? But he ain't got no stars right now. But the question is, how many people are gonna go see him if they not really looking? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And this is a kid who I think should be recruited by everybody. Like I think he's a stand-up. Like he's the kid you want on your team. He's a glue kid. You see what I'm saying? He's a kid that can glue your whole organization together. He's a kid that if Florida State recruit, if Mike Norvell called me right now and said, "Hey, tell me about Devontae Taylor a second," you know what I'm saying? I would literally tell him, "We need this kid because right now, even though you don't see it, because okay, he might be not playing the competition he needs to be playing, or yeah, he got hurt last year, or you know, he's made a lot of plays when he's been on the field, whatever." I'm telling him the best ball is in front of this kid. You see what I'm saying? And it's something that where back in when we were coming up, somebody would have found this kid and said, "No. I'm gonna go get this kid. I like this kid a lot. I'm going to get him. I'm going to sign him. This, that, and the third." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
How many guys we had at school like Rufus Brown? Rufus Brown didn't have no stars. You know, yeah, he might not have been a star at Florida State, but he was another guy who played. He was a good guy. Played when he needed to play. Was able to do everything you asked him to do. You know what I'm saying? And was a kid that was gonna be where you need to be. Gonna be in his classroom. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a kid that helps teams grow. You know what I'm saying? Was he a superstar? Could he have been a superstar? Yes, I think with a different opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Was he a superstar? No. You know what I'm saying? Not right now because of, once again, the opportunity. You see what I'm saying? But like we can go down the list and name a bunch of dudes who was like that. You know what I'm saying? Who got opportunities because like Chester Pitts. Chester Pitts played us at San Diego State. Chester Pitts never played high school ball. He was just on campus at San Diego State, and they were like, hey, man, we want you to come out and play. Chester Pitts ended up being a second-round pick who played 10 years in the NFL. With the transfer portal, nobody ever sees Chester Pitts play. You know what I'm saying? For what? We're not giving opportunity. We don't have no time to grow nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the real thing is that we've given coaches very little. Like if you don't win right away, it's like you're getting fired, which affects your recruiting. Like I joke with people all the time. I'm like, you know, obviously the goal is to always win a championship, but goddamn, sometimes you got to build shit. Sometimes you know it's but they like I saw not just Florida Miami fan, but just fans in general. Oh, we didn't win a national championship. This season didn't matter. Like shit. Only one team can win that. That's the goal. We need to always aspire for that. But goddamn. And so this coach needs to be fired who's doing well. But you know, that's a matter of
you know what I tell them when they say that?
what?
Go ask Nebraska how that's going.
Facts.
When they fired Bo Pelini because of they didn't like his attitude. Go ask them how that's going. You want to ask Texas A&M how it's going after this year? Yeah. I mean, end of the day is I know a lot of people here might not like Jimbo, but Jimbo is moving in the right direction over there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, if they don't get injured over there, you know what I'm saying? And their quarterback, the young quarterback stays healthy, they win a lot more games. The year before, if they stay healthy, they win more games. You know what I'm saying? If they wouldn't have cheated them boys out of getting in the playoffs, I think it was the second or third year there, they probably got arguably one of the best chances to win that championship that year. You see what I'm saying? At A&M. Yeah. And so my thing is you fire these coaches because of certain things, you know, that have nothing to do with just strictly ball. You know what I mean? And development. And now all of a sudden then you gonna see, you know, in my opinion, I don't think Nebraska ever come back.
Nah, very difficult. And with the landscape of recruiting, it's tough. But I'm glad you talked about
it took Colorado high in prime. And it's still gonna be a struggle for them if he don't get offensive and defensive line. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's gonna be a struggle. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, how did it go back in the day when you fired? I think who they fired Colorado? Was it I think it was Neuheisel or whatever it was back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man, but I digress. Go ahead, man.
Actually, speaking of Colorado, not about Deion. You told me a story about you playing with somebody who was at Colorado.
Who played in Colorado?
Yeah, I think you told me a story. He's like, yeah, man, we was hyped when we came in there. We whooped their ass.
Oh, yeah, we played Colorado. What year was that?
03.
Yeah, and so it was a coach, right? I went back to my high school, and it was a coach I played with a guy that was there, but it was a coach at the time. He was at my high school recruiting, and it was off season, so I was back home. But I was in the league at the time. Now, and he goes when he finds out I went to Florida State. He was like, "Was you there in 03 or whatever?" I said, "Yeah, I was there." And his first reaction was, "Man, we came in that locker room before the game." He said all the players was hyped. He said, but the coaches was in the coaches part of the locker room, and we all was scared. He said, "What?" I said, "What you mean?" He said, "Man, the first thing the coach said was, I hope they know what they just got themselves into." Because remember, they came and jumped on the Seminole
He
head.
jumped on the logo.
Saying, and Coach Bowden and them stopped them from whooping their ass before the game. Well, then we went in the process of fucking skull fucking them people and then ass dragging them all up and down the field. You know what I'm saying? And coach got back in and was like, "Man, y'all never wake up a sleeping giant." You know what I'm saying? And them boys always had the talent. He said, "We told them, y'all better be ready because these boys got talent. So don't let these couple losses that they didn't had over the last couple of years fool you. This team filled with goons, man." And they found out that day we was gooned up.
That was the same year when we did that. It was after the game. We did our thing before the game. We did that thing after the game.
In Florida.
I told people when we played Florida that year, I broke my hand against North Carolina State, and they told me I couldn't have the surgery until after we played Florida. And I also knew I was having shoulder surgery. Man, that game was tough. We go out that bitch, and I guess the boys jumped on that logo, and then Florida decided to take 2 L's that day.
Oh,
they wanted to try to fight, and then they got a opportunity to get their ass whooped again.
And we whooped the brakes off their ass too.
Yeah, man, that shit was funny, man. While we got you here, we talked about Mike, but you said you like the direction the school is going in, and I think I've got a chance to meet Mike. Mike's very personable, especially the former players. I joke with people all the time. He treat my son better than he treat me. I said, my oldest son walks around Florida State like he scored touchdowns and shit like that. But I told him that's smart. But Mike, Mike does good stuff, and I like it. I'm very excited for this season. I love going there and checking them out. And then Dugans and Dell having familiar faces there. So, but real quick, we talked a couple about Bobby stories, but what is a memorable Bobby Bowden story that you have, or what's one of your favorite Bobby Bowden stories?
My favorite Bobby Bowden story, man. Well, I talked to him the week he passed, but that's one of my one that kind of sticks with me. I was upset, or the week before, I was upset with myself because I was in Tallahassee. And my bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We just can't see you, but you good.
So, but I was mad with myself because I drove through Tallahassee with my family, my wife, and I didn't stop to see him. And I talked to him, and I planned on going over there, but I didn't do it. So that kind of one of the things where I regret not doing that. But one of my favorite Bob stories. So like we have my true freshman year. It's funny, looking back because it was, like Mickey, we was all scared of Mickey. You know what I'm saying? We were scared of Coach Bowden too. Coach Bowden came down out that damn tower one day. We had an offense versus defense fight in training camp, and it was bad. Like it was like punches thrown, no helmets, all that shit, right? Coach Bowden came out and told y'all want to fight? Okay, we're gonna do up downs for the rest of the day. It was the easiest fucking up downs we've ever done in our life, bro. He was like, belly, feet, belly, feet. And we were sitting there laughing. So like we did that shit for like 30 minutes. Nobody was tired. Man, Mickey, after the shit, Mickey was like, "Oh, y'all think y'all slick with them shitty ass up downs." Get on the line. Gave us 10 gasses after that shit. But I think, one of the funny stories is like how they would never tell incoming freshmen not to stand under Coach Bowden's tower when he was up there.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it was
Mhm.
always hilarious. Like I noticed it because the first time I passed by it, I seen the fucking marks on the damn bottom of the little cushion that was there, right? But like I don't remember who it was. But somebody standing under. I think it might even been Thomas Clayton. Standing under Jerry Carroll was standing under there one time, and Coach Bowden spit his tobacco off the damn thing, and that shit hit his ass right in the fucking helmet like bird shit, bro, and like splattered all over, and nigga almost made me throw up. But it was that was hilarious. The story, like looking back, you remember because we didn't have no indoor at the time for all you people out there. It fucking lightning came in, so we used to lose practice for lightning and rain, all this other shit. We used to get lightning, and the lightning to be right in front of us, and Coach Bowden would look the other way, like I don't see no lightning, man. Keep on practicing, right? And at one time, were you in Ernie's class?
No, Ernie was the year after me.
Okay, so you would have been there then. So you remember when lightning struck the stadium and we all everybody hit the ground and everybody started taking off. Well, Coach Bowden is literally have a foot in the cart, driving to try to get off the field to get under the baseball stadium. And Coach Andrews just had his hip replaced and trying to catch the cart so he can get in there and ride with it. So it's so many funny stories, man. Like Coach Bowden, man, he was a dope dude, man. Like nobody knows he loved them knee-high orange sodas. Like, he kept them shits in his office like a secret little stash. Like I could talk about Coach Bowden all day, man. When he's catching him taking a nap in his office, you know what I'm saying, every day. Like Coach Bowden, there's some dope stories, man.
Man, I got a chance before like the last 4 years, I got a chance to interview him like twice a year, man. It was just
With his house,
yeah, at his crib, man, and it was crazy how like I remember watching him from afar the last few years he was at State. I thought this man was senile. Like I thought he was losing it. But then you go and you meet him and you talk to him, and man, his recollection of everything was so clear.
I saw Coach Bowden when the year I was coaching at the junior college. He did an FCA thing, and he came up there, and I took all my kids that I coached, took them to go meet Coach Bowden. And first thing he asked me was, "Hey man, how's your sister? You still?" You know what I'm saying? And he was in his 80s, man. Like he met my sister twice in my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So, and he remembered that. Like he asked me. So I had a coach, Adam Shinnick, and his daddy, I guess, was a big time league guy. Played at Penn State, named Don Shinnick. I didn't know this, and he found out that was my coach. He was like, "Hey man, you make sure you tell Adam Shinnick that I asked for his daddy Don." And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Don?" Come to find out, Don was somebody that Coach Bowden met years ago. But man, this Coach Bowden had a hell of a memory.
Like when he played, their last game was at the Gator Bowl.
Yeah.
So I was in Jacksonville then. That's when I had moved there. I go over there to I come up there, me and Bradley, Monster.
Yeah.
And first, that was when I realized that Monster was really a monster. I didn't realize that because when Bobby said, "Monster, is that you?" I was like, "Oh shit, this motherfucker, them stories was true."
Hey, listen, man. Monster told one dude, "Man, keep playing. I'm gonna put your motherfucking head where your ankles at, nigga."
So his son is his baby boy is at the school I coach at. I'm trying to get Monster on staff but I know just so I can laugh because I know Monster, his demeanor is going to be so much different than our other defensive coaches that I'll just sit there. I'll be over there trying to set the spark just to see it blow up. Hey, but man. Bobby asked me about my sister. Is she still doing track? He asked me about my mama. He was like, "Why are you in Jacksonville? You ain't from here. You don't live." I'm like, "Man, how the fuck did you know that?" I was like, I just figured how many black 36s has Bobby Bowden seen in his whole coaching career. So I didn't take no offense to it. Just man, been coaching forever.
Man, I tell people, Coach Bowden know everybody who's there. I say he might not know every walk on. He knows every scholarship guy that ever fucking came through that place. And some of the walk-ons that made differences in life, he know them dudes too.
But he definitely was when he I had just got out of the hospital with COVID when he passed. And I remember somebody had called me and they told me, it's like, I want you to know before everybody else finds out. And I was like, damn, that was a tough one, man. But so what are you doing now? So obviously besides being able to smoke cigars in the middle of the day, and I know you've been talking about your wife, talking about your kid. How many kids you got? What are some other different things you got?
I got 5 kids, man, and I don't really don't do anything, man. I just my wife kind of look out for me, man. I kind of, like I said, last 2, 3 years been a little rough, man. Memory shit and all that other stuff, but it's been cool, man. I just been chilling, man. That's it, man. Just I'm fortunate, man, that my wife look out for me, take good care of me. I got 5 kids now. My oldest is a freshman at Tuskegee University, computer engineering and computer science major, double major. I got one about to go to college next year. She's gotten into probably so far 10 different universities. These are all academic kids, man. And I got a sophomore in high school, a freshman in high school, and a 6th grader. You know what I mean? So hopefully, my sophomore, he's starting to wake up a little bit, man, and learn the game and have the desire to really learn the game and elevate his play. Hopefully this year is a big year for him. My daughter, who's a freshman in high school, she's phenomenal. It's a matter of just keeping her on task because she's a little bit like her father when it comes to schoolwork. And then the baby probably is, I think arguably he probably has the most talent out of everybody, you know what I'm saying? But he's one of them, he's mean as a rattlesnake. But he's quiet dude, man. So he's my kids, man, every one of them got different personalities, man, and every one of them are fucking hilarious, man. So I just I'm here when they need me, you know what I'm saying? I kind of keep to myself, you know what I mean? But they, they look out for old man.
That's what's up, man. Well, I appreciate you, man, taking some time, man, and chopping it up with me.
We've been on here 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 58 seconds.
Hey, man, I told you, but the shit that's why I was telling people. So if I could have it, this is like when we was at the lounge. Remember they had to kick us out of Fuma?
Yeah.
I was mad as hell. I was like, dog, I'm gonna spend some money, bro. Like, he's like, nah, y'all got to get out of here. I'm like, bitch, it's 11 o'clock. But we had been there for fucking ever.
Yeah.
Bro.
So good talking to you too, though, dog.
Yeah, man. Hey, stay up, bro.
I just haven't had this on today, man, and talking Florida State, man. So there it is, man. Love you, bro, man. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, man. No doubt, man. Appreciate you. Yeah. That's Travis Johnson, man. No, great. Glad I got to chop up, man. Again, no matter who does these different types of things, it will never be what you got to witness is basically a FaceTime conversation between 2 former players and connecting the dots and a lot of these different things. So again, this is going to be the last one that we have that is available live. But unless you're a member, if you're a member of Den Media Group, you'll be able to see these things live as posted. We'll announce them, but then we'll always repost these so that you'll be able to see them. You just won't be able to be live and engage in the conversation and join it. We'll make our announcement of who our next one is going to be here within the next couple of days. It's going to hopefully be a special one. I'll go out to the Super Bowl here on Sunday. Be gone Sunday to Sunday. We're going to have tons of content that's going to be coming out, man. But just again, a lot of people think that just when you play, you're blessed with immense talent, but you still have to go through the everyday things of life and some struggles that other people don't have to go through. I mean, we saw how Travis had to, flew cross country. You saw how he had to adjust to life in college. You saw him getting hit with some bogus ass rape charges. You saw him go through a bunch of different things, man. It was just a great combo. I learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know. Hopefully you guys got a chance to learn about some things about a guy who I consider to be a legend. He's one of the few, not few, we've had a lot, but in comparison, he was a first-round draft pick and had a really great career, and he did enough for himself to where he can now kind of coast to be able to bless. And that's one of the cool things about the guys who are from Florida State, who you get a chance to be really, really fucking successful. and you get to pave your own way. So again, I appreciate everybody else, all my greenies. This is our month right now, so just you get a chance to participate in Black History Month. So make sure you're doing your thing, and yeah, on the timeline in the comments, tell us more people that you guys want to be able to hear from and get a chance to talk to. As I'll try to see what we can drum up in some of the guys and get some older no's as well that were there before me. So tomorrow's Big Games BS will be a little bit later. Probably more so probably around the same time, 11:30. But appreciate you guys for chopping it up with me, and we will see you guys next time.